Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the inauguration of J. Noren, 10th President of Wayne State University. I'm Nancy Barrett, the Provost of the University, and it's my distinct honor to preside at this academic celebration. Please remain seated for the academic procession. Ladies and gentlemen, the delegates of the learned societies. Ladies and gentlemen, the representatives of universities and colleges. Ladies and gentlemen, the representatives of the faculty of Wayne State University. gentlemen, the presidential party. Would everyone please rise and join Stephanie Wieses, a senior majoring in voice performance, in the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce the chair of the Wayne State University Board of Governors, Richard Bernstein.
It is during these difficult times that we are truly blessed to have Wayne State University, an institution that represents the idea that no matter who you are or where you're from, you can attend a place, be a part of a community that will allow for your tomorrow to be better than today. At this time, I would like to thank the delegates who are with us today, and I'd like to thank our past presidents, Irvin D. Reed, and David Anamani for joining us here today as well. But today we turn our focus to Wayne State's 10th president. It has been a true privilege to work with Jay Noreen. His brilliance and intellectual curiosity are coupled and matched by his genuineness, his warmth, his sincerity, but most importantly, his overall humility. Ladies and gentlemen, let us allow the installation of Wayne State University's 10th president, Jay Noreen, to now commence.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce the members of the Wayne State University Board of Governors and Governors Emeriti who are with us this afternoon. Please hold your applause until all have been introduced. Governor Tina Abbott, Governor Eugene Dreiker, Governor Debbie Dingell, Governor Diane Danaskis, Governor Paul Massaron, Governor Annetta Miller, Governor Gary Pollard, and the Governors Emeriti, Governor Leon Atchison, Governor Vernice Anthony, Governor Michael Einhauser, Governor Denise Lewis, Governor Ed Scribner, and Governor Jackie Washington. Please give them a round of applause. Also joining us this afternoon is Ms. Kimberly Trent, representing Michigan Governor Jennifer Granholm, President Al Bowman of the Illinois State University, Chancellor Harold Moyer, the University of Nebraska, and Professor David Kessel, the Wayne State University Academy of Scholars. Please give them all a hand. Also seated on stage are members of the President's Cabinet and deans of the schools and colleges whose names you will find listed in the program. And now, ladies and gentlemen, salutations will be presented to President Noreen. On behalf of the City of Detroit, Saul Green, Deputy Mayor.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for the opportunity to present salutations from the City of Detroit. I've come today to bring greetings, congratulations, and the commitment of support from Mayor Kenneth V. Cockrell and the City of Detroit on the inauguration of Jay Noreen as the 10th president of Wayne State University. President Noreen, you begin your tenure at a time of unprecedented challenges in the world, the state, our region, and the City of Detroit. Great cities have great institutions with which they have fertile and productive relationships. As a world-class university, Wayne State University has historically been an able, integral resource and leader in addressing the important needs of this region. As we face economic turmoil unlike anything most of us have experienced in our lifetimes, we need solid information, tremendous innovation, and the production of a well-educated, well-trained citizenry able to respond to the challenges that we now confront and that we will confront in the future. Wayne State University has always been that resource and source of leadership. Wayne State University is described as an urban university. We can walk out of the doors of any building at Wayne State University and within 2 minutes come face to face with the most extreme of the intransigent issues facing urban America, from high rates of unemployment to high levels of poverty to neighborhoods that have been devastated by the housing crisis. Also, within a few minutes we can see some of the most impressive institutions in this state, neighborhoods that have withstood and thrived despite the horrible economic downturn, and people with an unmatched will and resiliency. For the great urban university, the opportunities are limitless. President Noren, we know you bring the intellectual vigor, experience, and commitment that will continue to propel Wayne State University to the forefront of leading our city, region, and state in demonstrating how exigency can be turned into opportunity and ultimately success. I didn't attend Wayne State University, but I have the distinct pleasure of working on a day-to-day basis in the city-county building in an office right next to, if he's not your staunchest alumnus, he is certainly one of your staunchest alumnus, Mayor Kenneth Cockrell. He wanted to make sure that I extended today, again, the warmest congratulations, our complete commitment to work with you and provide the resources of the city, and our warmest welcome to you, to our community. Congratulations, President Noren.
Thank you, Mr. Green. On behalf of Wayne State University faculty, Professor Seymour Wolfson, President of the Academic Senate.
Good afternoon, President Noren, members of the Board of Governors, deans, fellow faculty, and distinguished guests. On behalf of the faculty and academic staff, I'm pleased to have this opportunity to say a few words on this important occasion. I had the honor to serve on our two most recent presidential search committees, one 10 years ago that brought President Reed here, and now I had the pleasure of serving on the committee that helped bring President Noren to our campus. Over the period of time I have been here, I reflect on the many times I have served on numerous university committees, including various search committees, which had many visitors come to our campus. I've observed the uniform theme from so many of these visitors expressing the amazement when they discover the enormous dedication of our faculty to the university and how much our faculty truly care about the students and their learning experience. We recognize that Wayne State University is more than an institution of higher education. It's more like a family. Yes, the faculty and academic staff at Wayne State University are one large family that seriously cares about the well-being of the institution, our colleagues, and our students. So I have the pleasure of welcoming you, President Noren, to join us as a member of our Wayne State University family. And as the head of our family, I'm sure you'll be watchful over all the members to be certain you provide the leadership and resources so that we may continue to grow and prosper in our teaching and research mission. We look forward to President Noren serving as our leader and steering us toward new opportunities for growth and recognition. Based on his past record, I'm well aware of his exceptional accomplishments at other institutions, and I'm certain we will enjoy similar experiences. We look forward to working together with President Noren to continue our growth and successes. We wish President Noren good luck and quick speed in resolving some of the complex issues before us. Our best wishes to our 10th President of Wayne State University. Welcome to our family, and welcome to Wayne.
Thank you, Dr. Wolfson. And on behalf of the students, Jacob Kindy, President of the Student Council.
Greetings, faculty and staff, students, the board, President Noren, and all members of the audience gathered together on this momentous occasion. Today, we join together as a higher education community to inaugurate Wayne State University's 10th president, Dr. J. Noren. Today, I come before you as the student body president to bring greetings and provide a few remarks on behalf of the student body. I had the opportunity to meet Dr. Noren before he was officially sworn in, and though I was not skeptical of his ability, I was anxious to see what he would bring to this university. To my pleasure, it did not take long to see his influence. In these difficult financial times, President Noren significantly lowered the account balance hold to allow students waiting on financial aid to register for classes. In a time when our local economy is suffering and more people are losing their jobs, President Noren has been committed to building strong relationships with not only businesses in Detroit, but also businesses throughout the state of Michigan. And when student concerns are at such a high level, President Noren makes it a priority to directly interact with the student body, personally attending events, increasing student council dialogue, and even caught doing the Cupid shuffle with the students at late night breakfast. These are significant strides for our student population and our university as a whole. Now, while I would love to stay up here and go on, I must now concede to let these festivities continue. Thank you, everyone, and most importantly, thank you, President J. Noren. On behalf of the students, We wish you the best of luck, our sincerest gratitude, and continued success in your tenure as Wayne State University's 10th president. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Kindy. And now on behalf of the alumni, Dr. James Garavaglia, President of the Alumni Association.
On behalf of more than 250,000 alumni worldwide, congratulations and best wishes to you, President Noren. You join only 9 other individuals, 2 of whom are with us today, in having the responsibility and privilege of leading this great institution, and we thank you for accepting that challenge. When I came to Wayne State University more than 35 years ago, I was not looking for your typical leafy university. I was seeking an education that would put me right in the heart of a big, vibrant city, and that's precisely what I found. I could walk to Trumbull Avenue, take a bus down to Old Tiger Stadium. I could walk to Woodward Avenue and take the bus down to Ford Auditorium and listen to the Detroit Symphony. I could walk across the street and come to this building. That is precisely what I was looking for. And today, students can not only experience all that I did, they also have the benefit of a vibrant campus life. To you, President Noren, we are entrusting their education in the fulfillment of their aspirations for better lives for themselves and their families and their communities. We alumni are shareholders in this great educational enterprise. As shareholders, we know the value of our degree rises along with the reputation of the university, and we know our investment is safely and securely in your hands. As you move forward with your ambitious agenda, we renew our commitment to helping secure the university's future, and this is our pledge to you. We will give our dollars to keep the doors open and accessible, a very key word, accessible to all students, just as others did for us. We will stand alongside you in Lansing and Washington, D.C. to ensure public support does not falter. We will share our pride in this university with our friends, colleagues, and neighbors to make Wayne State University the school of first choice. The Alumni Association is your partner in the adventure you have embarked on, and we wish you success and fulfillment in that journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Garavaglia. And now, please enjoy a musical selection by members of the Wayne State Chamber Winds under the direction of Professor Douglas Bianchi. Ladies and gentlemen, Wayne State University is honored to welcome a distinguished speaker who will deliver remarks on this joyous occasion of the inauguration of our 10th president. Dr. Donna E. Shalala, professor of political science and president of the University of Miami, has more than 25 years of experience as an accomplished scholar, teacher, and administrator. A leading scholar on the political economy of state and local governments, President Shalala has held tenured professorships at Columbia University, the City University of New York, and the University of Wisconsin-Madison. She served as president of Hunter College of the City University of New York from 1980 to 87, and as chancellor of the University of Wisconsin-Madison from 1987 to 1993. It was during her tenure at the University of Wisconsin that she met President Noren, who was then serving as Vice Chancellor of Health Sciences at the same institution. In 1993, President Clinton appointed Dr. Shalala U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services, where she served for 8 years, becoming the longest-serving secretary, HHS secretary in U.S. history. President Shalala has received many honors. Most recently, in June of last year, President Bush presented her with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian award. The medal recognizes exceptional meritorious service of individuals who have contributed to national security, world peace, or cultural endeavors. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome President Donna E. Shalala.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. President Adamany, President Reed, members of the Board of Governors, including my great friend Debbie Dingell, deans, members of the President's Cabinet, of course the faculty, staff, and students. I'm delighted to be here to honor my friend, President Jay Noren, as he is inaugurated as the 10th president of Wayne State University. We, of course, worked together at Wisconsin, and I have followed and admired his fine career. He is one of the most decent human beings in this business of higher education, and he is better prepared than certainly I was to lead an urban university. I am a Midwesterner and proud of our values and of the deep roots that I have in this part of the country. My heart aches for the families without work in our communities, but soars knowing that this great state can and will survive and thrive in the years ahead. In many ways, the state's future is tied in the short term to Washington, but in the long term, President Noren has gotten it exactly right. Wayne State and its sister institutions must lead Michigan from a regional manufacturing economy to a technological and knowledge-driven economy. Research universities like Wayne State have an important role to play in that transformation. You have already begun that journey. In many ways, you began it in the 19th century. Beyond question, the scientific research done under the sheltering arms of our great research university has improved human life, prolonged human life, enriched and protected human life. We are chipping away at the great killers that shorten productive lives. We have made sure, at least in theory, that every American has a chance at a healthy life and hopefully enough to eat. But we have other challenges. We must put our own houses in order, and that place, the strategy that is fundamental, is to address the injustices and the inequities that still plague our campuses, our faculties, and our staffs, and in many ways, the very fiber of our ideological tapestry. There is a crying need for our great universities to function as moral forces beyond the pragmatic, with our superior ability to draw together the finest minds and to put those minds in contact with young people whose own value systems are at a critical point of maturation. We ought to be able to serve as models for a just and a sensitive society. And too often, we cannot and will not. We have to be on the leading edge of profound change, and while we may be doing better at it, we are still not doing enough. Still, there are too few among us that are women and minorities. The idea of society's best and brightest in service to its most needy and its most challenging times, irrespective of political philosophy, is an idea of great elegance, and we need to extend it. We need to see our most gifted scholar teachers set about a work that will eliminate many of the cripplers that we face now. We need university scholars and teachers and university settings to be the proving ground for an explosion to help our ailing economy and our persistent inequities. Urban research universities are in the position to give our nation's lawmakers the tools they need to make decisions. And of course, policymakers must be willing to listen to our findings when we report them and act on those findings, just as they would employ a vaccine to fight an epidemic or a plant representing a new grain to fight a famine. We all must insist that our government take advantage of new initiatives in ending the conflicts to turn guns back into butter. Better yet, we should turn our guns into daycare and our waste into universal health care. We need to turn our tanks into teachers and our nuclear weapons into strong nuclear families, and our basic science and technology into well-paid and fair-paying jobs. Breaking a new cycle of poverty and dependency, putting down strong new economic foundations, providing for social justice, the knowledge that will meet these extraordinary challenges will, I believe, come from our great research universities like Wayne State. And there is rightness and richness in that. But we are fragile institutions. Years ago, I visited Japan when I was Chancellor of the University of Wisconsin, and I visited one of the most magnificent Japanese gardens that existed in Tokyo. And I asked the owner of the garden whether I could take his gardener back to Wisconsin. And he said to me, "No, to get a garden this beautiful, you need my gardener and 100 years." That is the story of the great research universities in this country. They have to be carefully nurtured. They have to take on a life of their own if they are carefully nurtured. Finally, if we are lucky, many of those assembled here, particularly the students, will enter the prime of their careers during the rebirth of a new dedication to public service as a cornerstone of higher education. I can think of nothing that would be more exciting, nothing that would, again, more powerfully fulfill our common destiny. Because, of course, such a reality would yield more than work on the challenges and problems of our society and societies around the world. It would begin anew the old ideal of building a concept of public service into the education of every young person. This is an American idea. Service to others may be the most powerful canon we have inherited. It is indeed a magnificent blueprint for individuals, for a nation, and for the great urban research universities of the 21st century. I wish Wayne State the best under its wonderful new leader, my friend, Dr. J. Noren.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Richard Bernstein will preside at the investiture of the President.
I would like to invite the Honorable Tina Abbott, Vice Chair of the Wayne State University Board of Governors, to please step forward. After an intensive search, which was led by Governors Stryker and Governor Washington, and composed of the administration, the faculty, the students, and the community at large, President Noren has been selected to serve as Wayne State University's 10th president. At this time, I would like to invite Presidents Emeritus Irvin D. Reed and David Adamany to please escort President Noren forward. Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to invite my colleagues, members of the Wayne State University Board of Governors, to please step forward. Governor Abbott.
Good afternoon. At the direction of the Wayne State University Board of Governors and under the authority vested in this body by the Constitution and laws of the state of Michigan, we hereby install you, J. Noren, as the 10th president of Wayne State University. Election to this office is a mark of our esteem and confidence, but with the honor goes the deep responsibility which authorizes and implies by this token. Authority vested in you, the chain of office is a tangible reminder to you and to all of the power and responsibility of the office which you have assumed. It is to be worn by you on appropriate occasions of academic dignity and ceremony, and will be transmitted to your successor and to theirs in perpetuity.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pride and tremendous pleasure that we present to you the Honorable J. Noren, the 10th president of Wayne State University.
Thank you, Governor Bernstein, and all of the members of the Board of Governors. I feel honored that so many Michigan public officials and higher education leaders have generously joined us today. The governors and mayor's offices, Wayne State University Board of Governors, University of Miami President Donna Shalala, Wayne State University Presidents Emeriti David Adamany and Irv Reed, University of Nebraska Chancellor Hal Moore, Illinois State University President Al Bowman, and colleague presidents from throughout Michigan, including Grand Valley State President Tom Haas, Macomb Community College President Jim Jacobs, University of Michigan Dearborn President Chancellor Dan Little, and Lawrence Tech University President Lewis Walker. Thank you all very much for being here today. And a special, very special, thank you to Donna Shalala for her very kind remarks. As you have heard from Provost Barrett, Donna Shalala's accomplishments are truly remarkable, both in higher ed and in national government. Some of us have the good fortune of a generous mentor sometime during our careers. My luck came from serving as Vice Chancellor at Wisconsin when Donna was Chancellor. I learned from her directly and by example, and I will always cherish those lessons. I have to admit to you, those lessons have kept me out of trouble many times, though I must also admit I haven't always stayed out of trouble. But that's not Donna's fault. And thank all of you in the audience, so many faculty members for being here. I'm pleased and surprised to see so many people here. And I want to express a special thanks to my family for being here, my wife Sherry, our children Liz, Olin, Christopher, and his wife Natalia, and my brother Jim. So thank all of you. Let me begin with a question, which is why are we here today after all? Well, in part it's because of a long tradition that happens at universities, and that is this inauguration event, but really that's not the reason we're here. We're here to underscore why universities exist, and specifically Wayne State's purpose. And while our existence clearly serves many complex purposes, as Donna mentioned, the central purposes, I think, can be pretty simply stated. There are two basic reasons. One, to nurture and develop students' capacity to thrive in the complex world in which they live now and into the considerably unpredictable future. And second, to explore creative solutions to the problems and challenges faced by the world's population. The question for today, I think, is this: how will Wayne State address those critical university purposes in its future? I think there are four core emphases that uniquely define Wayne State's most significant current and future contributions, and these are the four. One, educational opportunity, particularly immersed in diversity. Second, research and outreach, but focused on the challenges of America's great cities. And third, a central educational goal, instilling in our students a lifelong commitment to citizenship through community activism with a special urban insight. And fourth, economic development, to which the previous three all relate, particularly for metropolitan Detroit and for Michigan. So I'd like to expand on these just a little bit. First, educational opportunity, again, immersed in diversity. Now, similar to most urban universities, we are committed to the full range of student success, including gifted young men and women in our honors college, and students who are disadvantaged economically, educationally, or in some cases, both. And as we all know, that's common among students in Detroit's public schools. This is a special role. It's particularly important at Wayne State because we are not only an urban campus, but also because in our research enterprise we rank among the top 10 in the country. Therefore, we do have a special role for innovation and research on educational effectiveness across this broad student spectrum. And our student body is among the most diverse in America, with African American, Middle Eastern, Mexican American, and Asian students making up almost 50% of our enrollment. This rich diversity gives our students a remarkable advantage as they graduate to a life in a world of massive cultural and ethnic integration, where national boundaries have or are becoming secondary, if not irrelevant, to the inexorable forces of international commerce. One of our foremost goals at Wayne State is to increase our ability to fund both need-based and merit-based scholarships. 60 years ago, President Harry Truman's Commission on Higher Education stated its central principle like this: every citizen should have the opportunity to pursue higher education to the fullest extent of his or her abilities and energy. Well, that principle was right then, and it remains correct today. Unfortunately, since the Truman Commission 60 years ago, we have diminished our commitment to educational access at the state and federal level. It's critical that we re-energize it nationally and in Michigan and continually at Wayne State. In fact, our sustained democratic society, economic productivity, and quality of life depend upon that educational commitment. Wayne State is committed to access, and particularly for the diverse population we serve and through financial aid. This past fall, we made almost 16,000 undergraduate scholarship offers. That's a figure equal to 80% of our undergraduate population. And the average scholarship award came to more than $9,000, which is actually more than our tuition cost. I was a first-generation college student, and scholarships and loans, plus state appropriations that made tuition very affordable, were critical to the degrees I earned. And since my time as a student, now some, I hate to admit, 4 decades ago, state higher ed appropriations have dropped dramatically. And financial aid has also not kept pace. And that places higher education out of reach for far too many students. At Wayne State, we feel that underwriting student scholarships are of primary importance. So, about a month ago, we shifted some of our present institutional funds to assist students that are facing financial barriers as a result of the current recession. So next fall, we will use that one-time funding to double the need-based grants we offer to all freshmen, as well as to those sophomores, juniors, and seniors who are continuing and have demonstrated their academic success. We hope to continue this enhanced funding in the future through private gifts, but we've committed it for the next cohort of freshmen who arrive next fall. Second major emphasis Our second major emphasis is research and outreach confronting the problems of America's great cities. And this is, as we all know, both a challenging, but also, it's important to remember, an exciting time in Wayne State's and Detroit's history. Many of the problems our society faces are felt most keenly in metropolitan areas like Detroit. And as Michigan's only urban research university, Wayne State specialized resources addressing the challenges of urban life through efforts such as creative city planning, alternative energy, mass transit, including light rail, which will be on Woodward within a year or year and a half, K-12 education, delivery of health care and human services to underserved populations, workforce retooling. These are all critical to the future vitality of the city, the region, and for that matter, the entire country. And addressing these challenges will take new approaches, new paths to solutions. Now, there's an old saying that I think applies. The beaten path is the safest, but the traffic's terrible. But we need to stay ahead of the traffic. In that vein, there is a new Detroit endeavor, happened just this past fall, and Wayne State is a part of it. It's called CEOs for Cities. It's a national organization of major U.S. cities, and I said we just joined this past fall. It involves leadership teams of CEOs, a dozen or so people, from each of the member cities that meet regularly to share ideas addressing the major urban challenges we face. I serve on the Detroit team representing Wayne State with CEOs from Hudson Weber Foundation, from the Kresge Foundation, from the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation, Detroit Renaissance, DTE, Henry Ford, Detroit Medical Center, and others, an array of major institutions in Detroit. And we are now, through CEOs for Cities, Wayne State is now working collaboratively with 2 other Woodward Corridor institutional anchors, the Detroit Medical Center and Henry Ford Health Systems, on new revitalization projects in Midtown and the Woodward Corridor. We all know that America's great cities face major challenges in K-12 education. Detroit is no exception. We have overall high school graduation rates below 45%. And among African American males in Detroit, the graduation rate is the lowest in the nation, at 20%. We're acutely aware of this at Wayne State, and therefore we have more than 100 programs collaboratively with the K-12 schools that are designed to enhance success of K-12 students in DPS. Revitalizing America's K-12 system is a very steep mountain to climb, not just in Detroit, but all over the country. And it's essential to America's future that we climb it, and that we do so fast. A quote from Arnold Bennett applies. He said, "It's easier to go down a hill than up, but the view is much better at the top." Around the world, there are many countries closer to the top in K-12 education than the U.S. We need to hurry up. We also know that research is essential to discovering creative solutions to challenges facing America's great cities, and I firmly believe that Wayne State is more well-placed strategically, and I emphasize the word strategically, to provide innovative solutions to these urban challenges than any other university in the country. Now, why do I say that? There are 3 reasons. One, we do have a well-developed research expertise with a particular experience in urban issues. Two, and critical to innovation and research, we have a historical engagement throughout Metro Detroit, which engenders trust essential to this kind of innovation. That takes time to build. And third, and probably most importantly, Detroit itself, which faces all the challenges of America's great cities, and in many cases more intensely than most. In fact, these intense challenges are a unique opportunity for innovation and engagement on urban issues. The rich history of Detroit and today's challenges offer huge advantages as both a powerful classroom and a laboratory for research of major importance throughout the entire United States. Let me just give you a few benchmarks of Wayne State's research enterprise. We rank among the nation's top 50 public universities in research expenditures at just over $250 million, $253 million per year. That puts us in the highest research category among American universities, a distinction held by only 3.5% of U.S. institutions of higher education. And in Michigan, only Wayne State, the University of Michigan, and Michigan State hold that designation. And as I said, among urban universities, Wayne State's research ranks it in the top 10 nationally. 2 years ago, and this is a very important new initiative, Wayne State, Michigan State, and the University of Michigan formed a partnership in research and development we call the University Research Corridor, or URC for short. It's an alliance for invention, for innovation, for tech transfer, aimed at regional economic development. Together, our three URC institutions bring in more than $1.3 billion in research funding every year, 95% of all academic research and development grants at work in the state of Michigan. We are the youngest of these kinds of consortia. There are a total of 7 in the country. The others include member universities such as Harvard, MIT, Stanford, University of California, Berkeley, and others, and yet, though we're the youngest, we are already ahead of 3 or 4 of the other 6 on major research and development benchmarks, so it's an important asset to Michigan. Our third emphasis, instilling lifelong commitment to citizenship in our students through urban engagement, and Donna Shalala underscored this as well. I think it's a critically important issue. Wayne State seeks to excite in its students a commitment to lifelong citizenship through urban community activism, engagement in the public policy process, and informed leadership, emphasizing urban issues. It's a long tradition at Wayne State. We consider it a major educational priority. We accomplish it both as a central focus of our honors college and throughout all majors by emphasizing service learning and community-based student projects and activism in the city of Detroit. It starts with freshman orientation, and it continues throughout the undergraduate experience. And why is it so important that our students become smart about community activism? Because the future of our democratic society depends upon them. Someone recently stated the importance in a somewhat edgy, actually very edgy, but I think persuasive language this way, and I'll quote, "It's very expensive to make a smart bomb. It's much cheaper to make smart kids. And if you do so, it's unnecessary to make smart bombs." Our fourth major Wayne State emphasis is economic development, again targeting Detroit and the state of Michigan. When Michigan returns to economic health, it will be because we act now to build, nurture, and attract knowledge-based economic ventures. At Wayne State, we're doing that both through our research enterprise and through TechTown, our business incubator park, which now hosts 70 startup companies with a target for 300. It's now 5 years old. TechTown will soon be home to cutting-edge research in economic development and biomedical sciences through Michigan's first stem cell commercialization lab, a collaboration again with our URC partners, University of Michigan and MSU. Additionally, TechTown has a program it calls Soft Landings. It's a program that helps foreign companies explore business in Michigan through support service such as interpreters on site, office-based business support services of all kinds. And we already have an established partnership with the Mexican government. We have 25 Mexican companies now residing in TechTown looking for business in Michigan. So at Wayne State, we are an essential contributor to Michigan's economy. Everywhere you go in Michigan, you meet Wayne State graduates. There are more than 75% of our 235,000 alumni live and work in Michigan. We have the largest single-campus medical school in the country. 30% of practicing physicians in Michigan, 43% actually in the metro area, received all or part of their medical training at Wayne State. More than 75% of the law school's alumni live and work in Michigan. So it has been said, rightly so, without Wayne State, Michigan could not open for business each day. Let me close with a few musings about the future. Famous architect Daniel Burnham greatly influenced cities all over the country, Chicago, Cleveland, San Francisco, and Washington, said this, and I quote, "Make no little plans. They have no magic to stir men's blood, and probably will not be realized. So let's plan big and hopefully stir energetic and creative passions among those we touch. Here are a few ideas in two categories, Wayne State specific and national in scope. First, Wayne State specific thoughts and plans. A center for urban research, engagement, and education. We have a task force, been working for several months on this now, to create such a center. Also, a major Wayne State role in K-12 education in Detroit. We're exploring development of collaboration with the Detroit Public Schools for alternative approaches to urban K-12 education. We've explored the ideas with the State of Michigan Superintendent of Education, the University of Chicago Institute of Urban Education, with whom we've met and who will be meeting with us in the near future, with the Clinton Global Initiative universities, all of which have indicated an interest in collaborating with us on this challenge. We currently have a task force addressing this plan with representatives from 8 different disciplines throughout the university. In another venture, we're considering a Center for Middle East Studies and Diplomacy. Metropolitan Detroit is blessed with the largest and most diverse populations in the U.S. representing Middle Eastern ethnic and cultural groups, a highly concentrated population. The potential is huge. We're committed to collaboration with Metro Detroit community colleges on education programs with high employment potential. For example, in January, we began a major expansion of our partnership with Macomb Community College through a development of an advanced technology education center on the community college's South Campus. The center will provide 6 new undergraduate degrees on site on the community college campus and 2 new master's degrees in engineering management and labor relations. We want to explore this kind of connection more and more in the future, again, to help drive the economy. And finally, today, we're announcing a new fundraising campaign designed to increase the number and dollar amount of need and merit-based scholarships. The initial seeds for the new campaign come from the generosity of Wayne State friends who contributed, in fact, to this inauguration ceremony. The $26,000 in gifts we received just for the inauguration ceremony exceeded our expectations. So we decided to use those funds to establish a new need-based scholarship as one part of the overall scholarship campaign. We call the new inauguration scholarship the Wayne Higher Aims Scholarship. And to this seed fund, we have now added all scholarship funding received since January, which brings our current total for these need-based scholarships to $292,000. So we're off to a good start on opening the doors of Wayne State to students needing financial help. And now finally, a few comments on some ideas with national scope. Some might call them harebrained. We'll see. First, creation of a national trust fund for higher education. Twice in American history, we have confronted major challenges by investment in permanent federal resources for enhanced quality of life for the public good. In the 1930s, President Franklin Roosevelt led implementation of the Social Security Trust Fund that has clearly preserved dignity and financial security for American society for 3/4 of a century. In the late 1960s, President Lyndon Johnson led creation of the Medicare Trust Fund, providing assurance that older Americans would not face poverty from the misfortune of serious illness. I believe we have reached a crossroads in history at which comprehensive access to higher education demands a new federal trust fund for higher education. In our current system, funding for higher education tracks the national economy in exactly the wrong direction. In cycles of economic downturn, like the recession we now face, when recovery really depends upon education and innovation, we consistently and recurrently decrease higher education funding when just the opposite is demanded. The National Higher Education Trust Fund would address this serious conflict between need and resources, and thereby more effectively shorten and reverse periods of economic downturn that are best treated by assuring continued production of skilled human capital. Second, a cabinet-level federal Department of Urban Affairs with funding to address the challenges of America's great cities. And third, creation of urban land-grant universities built on the 19th century model of agricultural land-grant universities so well represented by Michigan State University. Land-grant universities were created by the Morrill Act in 1862 and funded by granting federal lands to the states for these universities. The lands provided the federal government served as a major economic resource for the universities. The land-grant universities were the beginning of America's world prominence in higher education and research and continue to be preeminent today. They were the economic drivers of America's 19th century and 20th century research and development enterprise, first in agriculture and then beyond, and the best of the land grants, like MSU, continue today as national leaders in research and development far beyond agriculture. In fact, a logical parallel is dramatically illustrated in Detroit. America's urban areas all face issues of neighborhood blight, land, housing stock, business buildings in deteriorated condition. This land, like the federal lands of 1862, has a lot of potential value, but not until it is revitalized. So that land and those buildings could be provided to urban universities with the expectation that the universities will develop them with the aid of philanthropic foundations, as well as local, state, and federal government. Well, I'll conclude my remarks with a poem that I happen to like that captures for me the essence of the university. It's called The Bridge Builder. And I'd ask you to think of the old man in the poem as symbolizing the university, and think of the youth in the poem as symbolizing the two purposes of a university that I mentioned at the beginning: to nurture and develop students' capacity and to provide creative problem solving for the future. The Bridge Builder. An old man going to a lone highway came at the evening cold and gray to a chasm vast and deep and wide. The old man crossed in the twilight dim. The sullen stream had no fears for him, but he turned when safe on the other side and built a bridge to span the tide. Old man, said a fellow pilgrim near, you are wasting your time with building here. You never again will pass this way. Your journey will end with the closing day. You have crossed the chasm deep and wide. Why build you this bridge at eventide? The builder lifted his old gray head. Good friend, in the way that I've come, he said, there followeth after me today a youth whose feet must pass this way. This stream that has been as naught to me, to the fair-haired youth might a pitfall be. He too must cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I'm building the bridge for him. Universities are, first and foremost, bridge builders from the past and the present to the future. Thank you.
Gentlemen, please be seated. Our sincere thanks to members of the faculty, staff, students, and alumni who have made this celebration possible. And special thanks to the Wayne State Chamber Winds under the direction of Professor Douglas Bianchi. Please give them a hand. As we conclude this celebration, we invite you to join in a reception in the adjacent atrium. Please return to this auditorium later for a special inaugural performance presented by the College of Fine Performing and Communication Arts following the reception. Please remain seated for the academic recessional, which brings to a close this inaugural ceremony. Thank you.